Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Welcome to part 2 of working on my Ficus benjamina root over temple planting. In part 1 of this series, I pruned up the tree, giving it quite a severe structural pruning, sorting out a lot of those problem branches that it had. In part 2 of this series, I'll be repotting the tree and the temple in a new pot made by Sophie. Here's a look at the new pot. So I'm going from a terracotta under tray that I drilled holes in for drainage into this pot that Sophie made. It's a rough kind of gray clay. Yeah, so I need to find the front of the pot. I think I want the feet either side. It's a 3-foot pot. Or do I want the 1 foot in the middle? Tough decision. I think the feet each side, it gives it more stability, especially for this temple. Yeah, so I need to find the front of the pot. It's not bad there. I think here's pretty good. It looks good from this side. Okay. So I'll need to get some drainage screens in the bottom here. And then I'll have to lift the tree and the temple out of here and do some root pruning. I also want to remove all this old soil because there's quite a few weeds in here. Some of the weeds are really hard to get out because they're in amongst the temple and the roots here. And I can never pull them out by the roots. So I'll try and bare root the tree, get it into the new pot, and yeah, it should grow quite well this winter with those grow lights, I'm hoping. Everything I've put in the plant room is doing really, really well so far. Here is a look at the trees in the plant room, and they look so green now. They're just loving these grow lights. And you can see the Sophia here has put on a ton of growth up top. It's nice and humid in here. It's good for aerial roots. My ficus is doing really well. Nice and green. I'm sure that'll be putting out a lot of growth soon. Yeah, so I have a lot of my tropical trees in here in the plant room. I still have more to go. The kapok back there is doing really, really well. My willow leaf ficus in here, looking good. My ficus religiosa is indoors now. That'll need a pruning soon. That'll be coming up on a video soon. My powder puff here has a beautiful flower out. Check this out. Oh, that's got to be one of the most beautiful flowers you'll ever see. Just wonderful. So it's doing really well. There's all kinds of new buds coming on it. There's new growth on the powder puff. Looking good. My Brazilian rain tree's in here. It's also doing really well. It needs pruning soon too. It's getting quite large, the canopy, and I need to prune it back for the winter. So I don't have the grow lights on the first bank here or the front of the windows. I alternate. So one day I put these on and the next day I put all these on. Because I only have one plug out here and I don't want to blow the fuse. We have an old house. We don't have a circuit breaker panel. We have fuses, the old-fashioned screw-in fuses. So it's a pain in the neck when they blow. You have to go down and find the one and unscrew it and replace it. So that's the reason I run one bank of grow lights at a time. Yeah, so everything's doing really well in here. Very happy with the grow lights. Thanks very much, Adam. We are getting some cold temperatures coming in 4 or 5 days below freezing for the first time this fall. So all my tropicals will have to come into the plant room or downstairs into the basement. So I've got a bit of work to do. I'll be doing that this week. My larch forest was green for the Toronto show, but now you can see it's starting to turn yellow. It's starting to get some fall colors. My northern bog forest is kind of in full fall colors here. So you can see the effect I was after, having the larches yellow out front with the black spruce behind. So the fall colors, they were better this year, but not spectacular. They kind of change colors at different times. But it looks good. I mean, it certainly looks like fall up north. I've got drainage screens in the bottom of the pot, so I'll add a base layer of soil now. So here I go. So I'll need to bring the soil level up to the height that I want to plant the temple, because the temple will sit on top of the soil. There's another pill bug in here. Come on. Put it back outside. Alright, I think it's going to use all my soil. I'm just going to tip the rest of the bin in. Level it off. Okay, well, I have all the ingredients to make soil. Perlite, safety sorb, and a few chunks of pine bark. I'm ready to start making my soil, so I'll start with the safety sorb. Sifting it out, getting rid of the fine particles. Now it's time to sift the perlite. I've added my perlite to the bin now. I mix it approximately 50-50 by volume. So now I'll throw in a handful of reptile bark. This is just from the pet store. And this has been decomposing for quite a while, so it's partially decomposed. I just keep a bag, I wet it, and then I leave it in the greenhouse. And it kind of decomposes. And this is, I think it's fir bark. Yeah, 100% pure fir bark. So that should be enough. Now I'll mix it all up. So I'll just come in and stir it all up. Alright, I'll continue topping up my pot. I think that'll be good. I can place the temple on top and then kind of work it to the right height and kind of add soil if I need it around it. I'll take the pot away now and I'll get the temple out of the pot. So I'll put a tray underneath to catch all the soil. I last repotted this tree in September of last year, so it's just been over a year. I took it from a larger pot down to this terracotta pot, and it went into the Toronto Bonsai show. So the pot I'm putting it in has a massive amount of soil. So I don't expect I'll be watering it a whole lot. You know, give it a thorough watering. It'll take a long time before it dries out. So it should grow well. It should get some pretty rapid growth up top once the roots kind of get established. So here we go. I'm going to take the temple out of the pot now. All right, so I think what I'll do is where do I grab it from? Maybe I tip it up and get it out that way. That works. Flump. Okay. I'll take the old pot away. All right, let's have a look underneath here now. So good root growth, actually. I mean, I did have fairly good top growth on the tree.
I had some wood holding it up from the bottom of the pot. So I had, I think, 3 pieces of wood in here. So those are out. Yeah, fairly good root growth. Happy with that. Just taking out the drainage screens. So this temple is planted on a ceramic tile. You can see the tile underneath here. I'm just loosening up the soil now at the edges. All right, I've cleaned up. I'm putting the tree back on the tray here. And I will begin raking out the roots. All right, here I go. So I want to remove everything I can because there's weeds in here. And I like to make every repotting count to do as much root work as I can to improve the root base. So I've got a bin I can put all this soil and weeds in. I'll put that right here. So I will continue working away, removing the soil and weeds from the root system. And then we'll come back and have a look at it and do some root pruning. I'm going to put a block of wood under the tile to kind of lift the root base up. Like that, and then I can comb the roots a lot easier. And hopefully I can do some more root rearranging, improving the root system when I repot it in the new pot. Always looking to improve the tree. Okay, that's pretty well got the root system cleaned up of the soil. I'm going to wash it in the tray here, and then I'll clean up the tray. So I'll get my watering can. And wash the root system off. All right, here I go. I'll have to be very careful not to spill all this water. So far, so good. All right, the tray is back. Now let's have a look at these roots. So you can see I have an opportunity to reposition them somewhat. And I will. I'll try and get them a little more radial. That one kind of goes into the temple. So let's see what I can do about the roots now. So here I have, this root should be more radial, so I can redirect it over here. This one I've kind of got a root on top of a root here. I could get rid of the one. I'm just looking at it from the front here. It's not too bad. This one could be moved over a bit to make it more radial. Like over here. I think that's where it was. This one's fine out front. This one, well, can't do much about that. It's growing from the crack in the temple. This one could be moved over a bit. It's a little confusing in this area. I don't really like this root, the way it wraps kind of around the front. I don't. No, it's locked in there. I think it's fused with the root above it. don't think there's much I can do about that. Other than prune it away, which I don't really want to do. Well, let me see if I can pry it out. There, I think I broke the fusion, and then I'll try and bend it so it sort of flows down the temple a bit better. There, that's better. And then these roots, if I could get this one over beside this one, it would look better. It's a bit better. Sorted a little more. There's a weed in there I have to get out. My tweezers. There, got it. Always nice to get those weeds out. They're so hard to get out once it's planted. So I don't think I have to do a lot of root pruning. I mean, it's going in a big pot. There's no sense pruning these fine roots. They'll just grow again, and they'll help the tree recover from the repotting. Keep the tree nice and vigorous. I'm just looking at this one root here. It has a few bumps on the root, and I'm hoping it's not root nematodes. That would be not good. I'll show you a close-up of it. So down here, you can see on that root, there's a few bumps on it. Right here. The rest of the roots look good. It's only that one. So I think I'll just prune away that one and hope for the best. The change of soil should help. So off go those roots. It's something you always have to watch out for in ficus. Okay, I think it's time to get the temple and the tree on top of the new soil in the new pot. And then start arranging roots and doing all the final touches of planting height, planting angle, all the fun stuff. Okay, I'm going to transfer the tree to the new pot, so here I go. And the front was slightly off, so I'm going to plant it about like that. Like that. I'll take the tray away and begin arranging the roots. I've got the camera lined up with the front of the pot, so I need to get my temple to a good planting height. Now, I think definitely lower. So I'll just kind of lower it down. That's getting closer, I think. So the tile is here that the temple is on, so it's still above the lip of the pot. So I think I want to get it down a little lower. Here comes the sun. Something like that. I think that's a good height. And I've got the front of the tree to the front of the pot. I think that's quite good. Maybe there. I'll make sure my temple is level. It seems good. Okay, so now it's time to get the roots in the pot. All right, here I go. So I wanted this one a bit more like that. I think that's why I had that stone in there to hold the roots in place until they set into that position. Yeah, so I'll have to get some more stones and just hold it in place. Okay, so this root has to come like that. I'll arrange my roots down here and then hold it in place with that rock like that. So that's good and tight against the temple. Make sure the roots are going down into the soil. This one has a bulbous part to the root here, and it stops it going closer to the temple. I'm wondering, I've got 3 roots here. I could remove that one, and I think I talked about that last time, taking that one off. All right, I'm going to cut that root away. Big cut coming up. Just like that. There's another one coming out the bottom I need to trim away. Like that. And now hopefully I can get this root closer to the temple. Yes, I can. Just so it doesn't look like it's hanging out in midair. I'll arrange these roots sort of radially, and then I can push it up against the temple with the stone. And again, trying to arrange these roots the best I can. Kind of a radial pattern. Yeah, so I need something to hold that root against the temple now. So I kind of need something fairly long here to push against the edge of the pot. So maybe a stick or something, or a long stone. This one's too short. I'll see what I can find. I have a fairly long stone here. I'll try that. Maybe it needs to be just a little longer. I can put another stone here. Kind of bury it a bit. There, so that is now holding that root against the temple. Now these roots here, I can untangle them a bit and try and get them a little more radial. And again, kind of push them up against the temple so they're not hanging in midair. So that one goes there and that one goes there. So I need something to hold those in place. And again, maybe I need a long stone to kind of push against them. So I'll see what I can find again. Okay, I have a combination of 2 stones again, pushing those roots up against the temple. So that's good. Now this one has a root kind of growing to the inside. It doesn't flow, so I'm taking that one off. Like that. And this one also needs to be pushed up against the temple here. So I think that will require a stone also. like that. So that's holding that root in place. So let's rotate around now. And I've got all these roots coming out the side here that need some sorting out. Again, I want the roots to flow if I can. So I've got one pointing straight down here. I'm trying to untangle it so I can get it flowing out radially like that. Now, I'm wondering about this root, if I need it. It's kind of a crossing root and it spoils the flow of the root system, so I think I'm going to take that off. Like that. There's one root here that it's kind of got a thick bulbous section that's hit the edge of the pot and kind of gone around. I think I'm going to take that off. It'll grow new roots from the tip. Like that. Taking that bulbous section off. And there's another one with some nematodes on it. I'm going to take that off also. Put it back to here. Yeah, you can see there's a few bumps on some of these roots. Never a good thing. So this one can go in here. Like that. Sorting these roots out. This root is kind of overhanging the lip of the pot. I'm going to reduce that back to there. So it fits in a little more nicely. Cross that root like that. Normally I don't like crossing roots, but sometimes on a ficus they can look quite nice. So this root needs to be pushed against the temple. So again, I'll need a stone in here to do that job. Just like that. So that's got that in place. Tuck this root and I'll just take off this long part of the root. This one needs to be tucked in. Maybe a stone on that one also. Like that. Okay. Making some progress. There's a few roots here that are a little long. I'm just going to trim them back. They're kind of sticking out of the pot a bit too much. So I think, this side of the root system is looking good. So let me keep rotating around. I think all this is good. I just need to tuck those into the soil, these roots. And we come around to the back. So I need to bring this one against the temple also. Something like that, kind of bending it. There's a pill bug I can take out. Yeah, so I need another stone to hold that in place. Or an old root or something. Maybe that root does the job. And there's one sticking straight up here. I'll take off. Okay, keep going around. So this one and this one. Now, this was the one root I debated taking off. You can see I have a root below. I don't know if I need this one. It's kind of, I mean, it doesn't hurt, but it's hanging out in the air. Maybe if I tuck it in beside here, that might look okay. Something like that looks good. Yeah. So that holds in place just by the temple there. This one. This one needs a stone to push it in a bit. So I'll find some more stones now. Okay, I have some stones. That one looks to be about the right size. I can push that in there. Like that. That pushes that against the temple. This one I could also kind of put some pressure on it to keep it in place. Like that. So that holds that in place. Like that. So that's got the back of the planting solved. Just going to prune this one off here. It's got a bump on it. Okay, so the soil will cover that up. Okay, let's rotate around to this side now. We're getting close to getting the root system. So this root is dead here. Oh, didn't make it. This one has a bit bumpy at the end. I'll prune it off a little shorter. This one I can prune off a little shorter. So it's fairly, is this one alive? Yes, it is. Okay. So all of these, there's a weed there I need to get out. Got it by the roots. So all these need to be pushed against the temple. So I'm thinking maybe this one rock here. Will do that job. And do I need to arrange them? Let me just have a look. I've got the one underneath here. I think the arrangement's quite good, so I just need to add some pressure to them to push them against the temple. Like that. That's got them really nicely. Come down like that.
Before I begin adding the finishing touches, the soil and the moss, I'm just going to step back and make sure I'm happy with the planting angle and the temple position in case I have to do a little bit of correction. Here's a look at the tree from the front of the pot.
So I think it looks quite balanced. I'm quite happy with it. Okay, I'll begin filling in the soil now. Okay, here I go with the soil. Just topping it up slightly below the lip of the pot. And I think that's good. I will apply moss to it, which will hold, moisture in. Okay, I think it's time to water the planting. Okay, here I go. It's first watering in the new pot. It doesn't really matter too much if the soil underneath the temple stays a bit dry, because the roots will mainly grow, on the outside. And if some grow underneath the temple, that's okay too. The roots will find the right place with the right level of moisture and they'll grow there. So if it's a little dry underneath, that's all right. I've got the tree repotted in new soil, new pot. So I'm going to go for lunch now, and then after lunch I'll come back and moss up the planting, do the finishing touches, and take a final look at the tree. I am back from lunch, and I went out and collected a whole bunch of moss. I'll show you that. So here it is. It was growing in full sun on a sidewalk, and got some nice sheets of it, so that should be enough to do my ficus, I hope. I'll add some water to the moss to get it soaking so it's easier to apply and it conforms to the landscape better. And now I'll start putting it on my bonsai soil. All right, here I go. I will start right here. You have to push the moss down really firmly into the soil so it makes good contact. I'll continue to moss up the landscape, then we'll come back and have a look at it. Now I can put this piece right here. I have finished the mossing on the tree. I had just enough moss. Let's fly in now and have a look at it, and then we'll come back and give the tree a bit of a critique. I'm stepping back now, having a critical look at the tree. I like the pot color. I think it goes well with the temple. I like the gray, the moss, the gray temple, and then the green canopy. The pot at the moment looks very large for the tree, and that will change in the future. If you imagine this canopy twice as big, full of foliage, I think it'll balance the pot out quite nicely, and the trunk will thicken up, and everything will, I think, come into proportions in maybe 5 years from now. I think it's a good pot for the tree. There's lots of soil in there for the roots to grow. I should get good top growth on the tree. I'm sure there'll be some more styling work on the tree in the future, lots more decisions. I'm going to put it inside in the plant room under the grow lights, so it should grow well this winter. But overall, I'm very pleased with it. I think it's got a good future, this tree, now that the structure is getting sorted out and it's got a good pot underneath it. So yeah, overall, I'm happy with the progress of this tree. There has been big changes to this tree over the last 2 days. Pruning the canopy up, sorting that structure out, rearranging the roots on the temple the best I could, repotting it into its new pot by Sophie. I think this tree has a good future ahead. I think it's, I've taken all the right steps today to grow the tree into the future. So that is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.